I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and I'm here today to talk about backspin release aid. It's a Scott's Backspin, which is a back tension release aid. So there's no trigger. It works on a hinge mechanism to make the shot. Now, I understand most people who watch and most people who shoot are hunters, but the back tension release aid is used by hunters, and it's used by, I'm going to say the majority, not the majority, but the majority of most people who target shoot at a high level. I'm going to go through and explain that. But before I do that, I'm going to just run you through a bit about me. I've been shooting forever. This is the first release aid I ever shot. It's a hot shot, and I shoot it with the little finger here. So it almost works the same as a back tension by applying this pressure here to take the shot. I then moved to a thumb release aid, which was a Carter, same old thing, and I've been shooting a Carter Simple 1 recently. Now, the reason you want to shoot a back tension release aid like this, as opposed to a thumb, and I like shooting thumb release aids, is when you're actually aiming at the target and you're putting that dot on the target, you're actually thinking, when do I press this button? And that's not what you should be thinking. You should be thinking aiming, and pulling back with the bow the whole time. Because if you're thinking about pressing this button, what you'll do is you'll jump forward like this because you'll think you've released it, and things go wrong, right? When you shoot a recurve, you shoot with the clicker, it goes click, you release. In fact, one of my friends who was world champion, he used to shoot compound with the clicker and a thumb, and basically when he's on the target and he hears the click, he presses the button. So it takes away your brain process to think, when should I press the button, how should I shoot? Because that's not what you should be thinking when you shoot a thumb. You should be applying pressure, and this thumb should be going off by surprise. Now, most people will not do that. They'll be pressing the button like this. That's not what you want to do. And that's why the back tension release aid came in, because there's no button to press here. You don't know when it's going to go off. So even if you're a hunter, target shooter, it's worth giving it a go, and it's scary. Like, I've been shooting for 35 years, I don't know, 33 years. And this is really, like, I've tinkered with them before, but never really got into it because I found it easier to squeeze a button and be concentrating on squeezing this button and try and get it to go off how I want it to go off. And in fact, you'll see many of the top shooters today. Sarah Lopez for Colombia, she shoots a thumb release aid, and I think she's the best shooter in the world. And they're using a thumb release aid. So if you can get it right, you'll shoot extremely well with it. But I'm going to say the majority of people will be shooting a back tension release aid of some kind. You know, Rio Wild and his dad, D Wild, used to shoot a thumb. He used to shoot this, which is why I've got one. So they used to shoot thumb, and then back tension release aid came off. Stefan Hansen shoots the back tension. So, and I chose this one. So I went through, there's a whole bunch of back tension release aids on the market. So there's the Only by Carter. They have a whole bunch. There's safeties with back tensions, the Scott, Longhorn, and I'm not here to go through all the different varieties. This is the one I chose, and I'm going to go through and explain why I chose it. It comes in different models, so it comes like 2-finger, like this. It comes in 3-finger, also comes in 4-finger. It comes in the Levi Morgan green, as opposed to red. I chose red because I shoot PSE, and it tends to be red and black, so I thought the red and black match better. Now with this here, you've got the option of detaching this and then changing how many fingers you want. Now for me, and I think for the majority of archers, that's just too confusing which one I pick. So I've just gone for a standard 3-finger. Keep life simple. You know, there's a 2-finger there, and honestly, I've never even tried it. I've never tried the 4-finger. I mean, I've shot 4-finger, and I don't think I've shot 2-finger. I chose 3 because it was simple, and I've tried a few other back tension release aids, and this is the one I picked to start with, and I'll explain that. First off, with back tension, you're afraid you're going to punch yourself as you're pulling it back because there's no button, there's no safety. Now, the first thing is, if this is the bowstring, if I pull it back with just this finger here, so I'm pulling back there, just with this one finger, it cannot trigger. Impossible to get that to trigger, right? Because it works on a hinge mechanism here. This has got to move for it to trigger. You've got a thumb here, a little peg. You put that thumb on it, it physically can't rotate, all right? So that's the first thing. Now, that's not how you hold the thing. You hold the thing like this, but you're not applying tension with these two fingers here, okay? So you draw back, sort of similar as you do with a thumb, but there's no tension with these two fingers. You lock your thumb on this post here, and the thing cannot go off, right? You can't punch yourself. You can only punch yourself if you apply tension here, unless if you're doing this. But if you put your thumb over this, like that, you can't set the thing off, right? And saying that, I'm shooting the championships on the weekend, state field, and I was shooting pretty good. Like, I cleared a couple of targets, shot perfect scores on them, which is good for me. And I started feeling a bit of pressure. I'm like, what happens? And the guy next to me misfired. I was like, what happens if I misfire? So then I was like, oh, I was really kind of nervous. And I've been shooting this now for about 3 weeks, right? Because I was like, oh, what happens if I did what he did? And I didn't have any misfires. But, I mean, that's the thing with back tension. You can't fire it off unless you put that extra bit of tension on that finger. And that gets to me the point why I picked this trigger. One of the reasons why I picked this trigger. When I'm drawing this back, my fingers are like this, in that position. It feels really, really uncomfortable. When I draw back this is a cutter only, which I really like. As I draw it back, my fingers feel comfortable because there's this big grommet here holding my finger in place. And it feels really nice and really comfortable. This didn't feel comfortable for me because my fingers are kind of squeezing down on each other like that. But what I liked about it, when I got ready for the shot, I'm going to change the angle. So I want to get ready for the shot. You can change the setting on this. So I take my thumb off and then I squeeze. So take your thumb off and then I squeeze. As I squeeze here, my fingers have got to move more on the post, and they actually separate from here to here. So as a feeling, you notice it didn't actually move much, but it went from touching to they actually opened. So for me, the feeling in my fingers for shooting this release aid, as I was getting ready to take the shot, it felt comfortable for me. My fingers felt comfortable, so I kind of knew I was getting ready for the shot. So if I drew back in it, I'm going to extend the thing, position like this, which is obviously not the way I draw, but I might have on the weekend when I was panicking. So if I overextend and then my fingers are a thing, which is not how you draw, you can see my fingers crush one another. But then as I become more comfortable, they move apart. So for me, this just felt comfortable when I was making the shot. Now with all back tension release aids, there's a click. Now I've turned the click off on this one. This one's got a click on. I'm just going to set the click. I'm going to put it up near the thing. So I hope you heard the click. I'm going to do it again. There's a little click. So as you rotate it, and you'll see how much moves from here to here. You hear the little click. And you'll see on mine, see the difference in the angle between those two? The distance from there to there. And on mine, the distance from there to there is very small. So I've got mine set very hot. So I only require a little bit of movement to set it off. This one here requires a lot of movement to set it off. So you can see the distance from the silver to the red. And you hear the click. Now the problem I had with the click, I'm getting ready for the shot, I'm twisting, putting my back into it, so my shoulder's moving back like this, and then I hear the click, and I think, oh, my bow's about to blow up. Don't ask me why I think that, but because none of my bows have ever blown up, but I hear the click, and I started to flinch, so I go, ugh. So it didn't occur to me when I first used to shoot back tension, but then the more I shot it, my brain started to trigger on the click, and it caused me to kind of flinch, and then I have to redraw. So I've actually turned the click off. And I also found with this is factory set, this took way too long to go off. So I'd be aiming, and it would take me about 15 to 20 seconds to get a shot off. So people had shot literally 2 arrows while I was still sitting there aiming on the target, and it actually hurt my back because I was aiming for so long. So mine now is set a lot hotter. I've also turned the click off, and what I want to talk about is how you turn the click off and how you adjust it. All back tensions, I'm going to say all, have the click feature. So you're getting ready, you hear the click, and you know it's about to go off. So pretty much all back tensions have that, and all back tensions have the ability to turn the click off, right? So on the Scott Backspin, you have a little Allen key there, and on the other side. Just there. It's a very fine Allen key. What that does, it locks this little silver thing in place. This hinge here. That silver thing. So it locks it in place. Now with the Scott Backspin, this little thing here is on a magnet, so there's a magnet in there. I don't know if I can get into it, but anyway, there's a little magnet on the back there, so it kind of just holds in place. You can see it doesn't want to fall open. So to adjust how much it takes to trigger it, you just loosen those 2 screws and you just set it. Now, the problem with this is if you want to make a minute adjustment, it's really hard because you've got to loosen those 2 and just push it down with your finger or pull it up a little bit. So it's not an Allen key adjustment as is some of them are. I don't even know how to adjust that one. But some of them have got a little Allen key where you basically wind it in and this adjusts through Allen key adjustment. And Tribble have got it on the hot tension. There's a few others who've got it. This just moves up and down. So quite simple. Now if you want to turn the click on or off, this is a half moon. So it's a square with a half circle on it. So it's basically a circle cut in half. It's got a pin put through it, which is that silver thing on the edge here. So what you do is you loosen these 2 Allen keys off, and this spins. Then, on the back of this is an Allen key. So on the back of this silver thing here, there's an Allen key. Once you spin it to the circle, you loosen the circle, you loosen that off, and this pin on the edge here drops out. So the pin there just drops out, and what you do is you flip the half circle. One of the sides has got a little ridge. I'll try and zoom up on this one with a click. So this one with a click, probably not going to get it, but it's a very fine little line that put in the hinge. So there's a little fine ridge there, and before it triggers, the hinge is actually falling onto the little line, which is the click you hear. On the other side, when you spin it around, there is no click. So it's just completely smooth, so it goes off by complete surprise. So I've turned my click off. I've got a friend who shoots in my shop. He shoots with the click on. So as he's about to shoot, it goes click and then he shoots. And he likes that security. I don't because I was flinching at the click. So I've turned it off. So Scott Backspin. Now how I shoot this, I draw back like that. And my fingers are over here. I draw back and you'll see me do this. The problem I was having when I first started shooting back tension, I was getting lots of lefts and right because when I shoot my Carter, I lock these two fingers into my jaw. And I was finding I was very, very secure and I wasn't getting any left and right. With this, I found I was floating around a bit. So I found I was floating this arm around a little bit around my jaw here. So then I thought, and other people may not do this, but this is what I've did. Recurve archers find different anchor points. So some people stick their little finger in here. Some people have different anchor points with recurve. So what I thought with the backspin, what I'll do is I'll stick my thumb, when I take it off the trigger, into my neck. So I stick it in just about there, into my vein. So I get into position, take my thumb off the peg, move it into my neck, into the same spot every time. And then I begin my shot execution. So I'm aiming at the gold, aiming, and then it goes off. So it's a complete surprise. Now, Back tension release aids. Now, I've shot perfect scores with this before, but I was having trouble aiming. So I was basically floating around the top of the 9 or somewhere, and then when it would float across the 10, I'd punch the trigger, right? It's not how you're meant to shoot, but it's how my brain was functioning, right? So when I switched to this, it was much harder to shoot to start off with, and I thought, well, I'm not going to switch between them. I'm just going to go straight to back tension. I'm going to give this one a go. So this is a Scott Backspin, and this is what this video is on. Now, the first time I shot it, my score, this is indoor scores, was I think I shot 285 or something like that. I normally shot at 290 with a thumb. Now, then I sat up at home and started shooting really close distance, like 2 meters away from the target, just to get the feel of it, just to get the shot execution right. And I found it started becoming more comfortable because I wasn't thinking about aiming, I was just feeling the shot. And that's what you've got to do with this. You don't want to be panicking, you just want to be feeling the shot, see what it's meant to be feeling like, getting everything happening. So I've been shooting for 3 weeks and my scores have gradually improved. So the last 3 times I've shot personal bests. So I shot at 291, 292, 294 in the last 2 times. So I'm happy now. I am still moving around the target, so my scope when I aim at the target goes like this. So I'm not as steady as some, but I don't shoot as much as others. And when I was younger, when I was 20, I could aim on an arrow and hit the arrow. But my scores are better today because I think my technique's better. Definitely my mental process is better now than it used to be. I'm a lot more relaxed now than I used to be when I was 20 and 18. But I'm not as steady as I was when I was 18 and 20. So we're going to shoot this, and you can see it go. Now, a lot of people, and when I started back tension, I had it really, like it required a heap of tension to set it off like that. Now, I found it difficult and it took me a long time to get the shot off, but I did it for security, so I felt like I wasn't going to hit myself in the mouth. I'm going to say don't worry about it. If you draw it back with that finger, it can't go off. So we're going to shoot this now with the expression I've been shooting pretty much continuously for 4 weeks. And you can see how I shoot this. I mean, different people shoot it different. Some people shoot a high elbow and they move their elbow down. I still kind of shoot like a compound where this is sort of at 45 degrees and I'm pulling my shoulder in. So we're going to have a shot with it. This is the Scott Backspin. I'm going to say there's a whole bunch of really good back tension release aids on the market. I chose this just because it felt comfortable. I felt like this runs on a bearing system here. So I found the rotation really easy. But the major reason I picked it was my fingers were uncomfortable, and when I started getting in the position to have the shot, they became really comfortable. So I like the feel of it. Scott make really good products, as do Carter and as do Trueball and the rest of the companies, Stanislavski. They all make really good products. So it's not like, oh, am I going to buy a release aid which is dud? No, you're not. They're all going to be perfectly fine. I just picked this one to start off with. I probably will try other ones, especially the Carter only. I really like the feel of this. It just reminds me of the Carter. The feel of the other things. This is brass. It's really solid. Like the feel of it. Longhorn made of brass also. I haven't actually shot the Longhorn. But to change the Longhorn, this is the video on the Longhorn. There's an key down the bottom there. So all back tensions are pretty much the same except for the Carter, which uses a different pin system here to trigger it off. But they're all pretty much the same, very simple release aids and well worth giving a go. So I'm going to go and have a shot so you can see me shoot this. But give them a go, and you can't just pick this thing up and go and shoot it and expect to get good results. For me, I've been shooting, like I said, forever, and it took me a while to have a go at this, but I finally decided, no, I want to be competitive, I want to start shooting a lot. If I want to shoot a lot, I've got to change what I do. As much as I love shooting the thumb, and I do love shooting the thumb, I've got to try something new because I've been doing the same thing for 30 odd years. So hence the back tension. And don't wait 30 years to try something new. Go and give it a bell and go up close and give yourself 3 weeks with it. And give yourself 4 weeks, 5 weeks with it, and shoot up close and give it a go. I think you'll enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it now. I'm getting really good shot execution. I don't know when the trigger's coming off, and everything's just flowing naturally for me. To start off with, I found my technique wasn't as good with this. I found I had better technique with this, like my arm position was better because I was, with the thumb, everything was comfortable so I could concentrate on my technique. With this, I was worried about this going off. I was worried about hitting myself, so my technique dropped. But now I think my technique's fine. I think it's solid. And I think I've got this down pat. So I think my scores are pretty good. All I need to do is get rid of my movement with the sight where it goes all around the place as I aim. And I could shoot probably decent scores. So anyway, we're going to have a shot with this and see how it goes. Thanks. Okay, so I'm in the shooting range. I've got the Backspin release aid. I'm shooting a PSE Expression compound bow, which I've been shooting now for 4 weeks. Loving it. Started off not shooting good scores, but I changed the release aid. I changed scopes. I changed lots of stuff. I added a lot of weight to the bow, but now I'm shooting pretty good scores with it. So, and apparently that's pretty common with PSE. I spoke to the international sales manager from PSE, and he said the experience was people either shot personal best straight up with the Expression, or it took a couple of weeks for them to settle into it. I watched Stefan Hansen shoot the Expression, and this isn't on the Expression, but he was shooting perfect scores straight up, and I was like, okay. And Chris Perkins, the first time he shot it, he shot won the championship and won prize money with it. So the first thing with the back tension release aid is I want my arrow line and I want my arm, so this part of my arm here, so where the red is, this part of my arm, all to be in the same line. So the arrow and the arm line up all in the same line. If the arm's one side of that line, you'll tend to throw your arm left, and if it's too far back, you'll tend to throw the other way. So that's the first thing I'm trying to do, and you probably can't see it from this video because I'm trying to concentrate on this rotation here, on how I draw it. So I'm shooting gold tip velocities. They're really robust arrows. I do shoot a lot of different arrows, but I do use these because they're pretty cost efficient. I find they shoot fine, and I don't bust them. I tend to shoot big groups. So to load the release aid, I've got D-loop and just hook straight on, nice and simple. So I'm going to draw this thing back. Now I don't know if you can see, my hand's in that position there. So these two fingers are on top of each other, like that. So that's my drawing position. So let's just get ready, let's take the shot. So grip's right, I draw it back. My anchor's in. Now my thumb goes onto my neck. Now I put my third finger on and I'm getting ready to take the shot. Now, to start off with, it should be a bit of a surprise. I don't know when that's going to go off. And that was okay. Now, the thing is also, I was alternating between thumb and back tension for a while when I was first trying this. And I found I shot in different spots. That was probably due to my position of my hand on my face. But it's fine. Just get used to shooting back tension. So you apply most of your pressure with this finger here. This is the one you're drawing with, this finger, not the other fingers. Thumb into the neck. And I totally didn't expect that one to go off. And that's what you should be feeling every time. And one thing I do too is I tend to shoot at the same target over and over again. And people go, oh, why don't you shoot at different faces? I don't know if you heard that arrow hit the target, but actually hit the other arrow. And for me, it's a positive reinforcement of the shot. If the arrow hits the arrow, I'm like, must have been a good shot. It was the same as last time. So for me, practicing, I want positive reinforcement. So I tend to aim at the same target. I can shoot three different targets, but I'm not getting positive reinforcement that I need when I'm starting off practicing. I need positive reinforcement. So just another shot. So I'm looking at the target, focusing on the target, thumb on the peg, draw back, lock it in, get your anchor point set, That's a good shot. So, Scott, back tension, backspin, release aid. I like it and give it a go. I will try the other ones out as well. I'll do reviews on the other ones because I'm kind of addicted now to the back tension release aids. So I'm shooting pretty good with them, and I want to shoot more. So the more I shoot, the better I shoot. So Scott Backspin, back tension release aid. Check it out at your local shop and ask people for a shot if they've got one. Generally, people have got lots of back tension release aids. So ask people for a shot if you don't have one. And if you come into Archery Supplies, I'm more than happy for you to shoot my bow, shoot my release aid, shoot anything you want. So, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Coming up for Christmas. Have a good Christmas. Thank you. Bye.